Hello, folks. It's Friday, October 23rd, time for a daily reflection. This Sunday, we'll be celebrating Reformation Sunday here at Shepherd of the Hills. And I have a story I'd like to share with you. It's one that I learned a long time ago, probably over 25 years ago, and I just love the creativity of whoever put this together. It's based on the Romans text. So as you've gotten your bulletin, please check Romans and read it over. Here's the story. Martin was an addict. He wasn't addicted to drugs and alcohol and the other chemicals. He was addicted to always being right. And he lived his life that way. It started out, as they said, as in early childhood. He didn't hand in a homework assignment once in third grade, and his teacher said, "Martin, where's your assignment?" And he said, "Well, I did the work, but overnight the dog ate it." I mean, it's true. You can call my mom and she'll tell you that's exactly what happened, and it was exactly what happened. He always had to justify his answers. It got worse and worse as he continued to get older and older. He made sure that he did all the right research before he did anything. Like when he bought a house in an area that was considered not so great, and his coworkers were talking to him about it, and Martin, that wasn't a smart move. Oh, yes. I've been doing the research, and all of the economic standards show that this is an area that's going to be up and coming in another 5 years, and I wanted to get in on the ground floor. And you know what? He was right after 7 years. And then it was the fateful moment, if you will. He bought a car. And people wondered about that. Yeah, but they'd come to know that Martin did all this research and he always had a right answer no matter what. But one of the new coworkers said, "Martin, that car is a lemon. It's just no good." Martin then went into full-blown justification addict life. And he explained all of the research that he'd done, how he'd read all of the magazines, and he'd done all the investigation. He'd rented the car for a couple of times. And then he said, "You know what? I'm just going to show you. First of all, this has got incredible pickup speed. So let's go on a break, and let's go take a test drive." Coworker said, "Sure, that's fine. Great, let's go." So he gets in the car, pull out of the parking lot, stops at the stop sign, revs the engine up, releases the brake, and then takes off. And he's gone from 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, which is wonderful because it's exactly what he said the car would do. Problem was, as he's going up to 60 miles an hour, there on the side road was a police officer. Whoosh! Martin goes flying by. The officer turns the headlights on, pulls out, and follows after Martin. And the siren's blaring, the lights are going, and Martin is saying, "Oh no." Officer pulls him over. "License and registration, please, sir." Martin produces it, and then he starts to explain. "Officer, I'm sorry, but I was just trying to show my friend that this car really is a good car, and it can go from 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. And the officer said, "That's very nice, but you know what the speed limit is here, don't you?" I was just explaining it to my friend that this is a really important car, and no, what's the speed limit, please?" "It's 25 miles an hour." "So I clocked you going 62 miles an hour. That's way over the speed limit." Martin is now disturbed because it's not looking good for him. So indeed, Martin accepts the ticket. The officer says, "So you have two options. You could appear in court on this date and contest the ticket, or you could just pay the fine, and here's what it's listed as, and you can handle that any way you'd like to." Martin thinks long and hard, and he's going to contest and try to figure out a way to get out of paying the fine and contest the ticket. So the night before, his court appearance for this ticket is on the docket. He wrestles overnight sleeping. He doesn't do very well. He's just beside himself. Because one of the important things about Martin is that he is also honest to a fault. Just addicted to justification, but honest. And he has a hard time saying one particular word. It starts with a G, and it just isn't part of his natural speech pattern. He practiced all night saying, not innocent. So he stands before the judge as his case is called. And the judge asks, how do you plead? Let me explain something to you, Your Honor. No, Martin, how do you plead? I'm not innocent, but I have extenuating circumstances. You see, I was trying to explain to my friend how the car has good pickup speed. And so I was showing him, it's his fault really that he made me do this, but I was behind the wheel. So I guess I'm not innocent, but with these extenuating circumstances. Martin, the judge asks, can you tell me where we live? That's easy, sir. We're in the city. No. What's the name of the parish where we live? Where you live? The parish? Now, for those of you unfamiliar, a parish in some places is the same thing as a county in most everybody else's language. The parish is called Grace. That's right. You live in Grace Parish. And that's important for you to know, Martin, because I'm a judge in Grace Parish. And Grace Parish means that we're allowed to show grace to others. Now, do you know what that means, Martin? Not necessarily, sir. I've never been before the court for anything. Well, grace means that I can absolve you of these problems. Martin is dumbstruck, dumbfounded. He's never heard that he could be forgiven for something. In part because he's never really ever accepted that he was guilty of something. And so the judge says, Martin, while you were going way too fast, I'm going to say that your penalty has been paid. And I'm going to say, Martin, that you're free to go. Martin just stood there. He wasn't sure what to think. And then said, thank you, Your Honor. And he walked out. A free, forgiven, graced moment person? It began to settle in on Martin on the ride to his office. People began to notice the change in Martin. No longer did he have to justify what he did, what he said, how he acted. Suddenly, his coworkers, his wife, his kids began to see something different in Martin. It happened one day when his son started asking him questions about things, and Martin started in on that. Well, you're right, was the answer he offered. His son wondered, what's happened to Dad? One of the coworkers reminded him of a deadline that had passed, and Martin started to say, well, I was busy I just missed it. I'm sorry. I missed it. Can we get it back? Can we fix the problem? What do I need to do? His coworker was floored by this new Martin and finally said, what's happened to you? And Martin said, I've been through a program. I've recognized that grace is more important than self-justification. I've realized that forgiveness is what it's all about. How wonderful. The Romans text that's our text for Sunday talks about grace. Martin Luther, the first Martin justification addict, read that text, and suddenly it changed his life. That we are saved by grace alone. Saved by grace. We don't have to justify ourselves before God. We don't have to say, well, God, I would have if only. No, we hear it, plain and simple. We live in the parish, in the municipality of grace. And God says to us, you are forgiven. I hope you hear that. I hope that, like Martin, you understand that forgiveness means God has wiped the slate clean. And we don't have to justify ourselves anymore. We just have to acknowledge that we are forgiven people. And we move forward in God's grace and love. That was mainly the theme of the Reformation, that it wasn't about whether or not we could prove to God we were good enough. God already said we are. But the Reformation really wanted to say to us and to all who followed afterwards that we are God's children, forgiven, washed clean in the blood of Christ. See you Sunday. Wear your red. It's Orange Friday today. But wear your red on Sunday. Post your picture on the Shepherd of the Hills Facebook page. Also check that Facebook page because JD and Jesse are going to start the live streaming in a different way. And Joan and Kevin are looking forward to not having to be working so hard. We hope it works. Until then, please wash your hands a couple times a day, 20 seconds at a time. Use hand lotion to soften them up after all that harsh water and soap. Please, 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 keep that physical distance when you have to. Wear your mask when you have to, all the time that would be, when you're out and about. I know we're justified and forgiven by God, but let's wear the mask as a symbol of our love for ourselves and for others. Protection. And in the words of Sergeant Esterhaus, be careful out there.